We're on 55B. Okay. You know, today we're gonna finish up regarding Ruvain, whether Ruvain sinned or Ruvain didn't sin, right? We've been discussing Ruvain. At the end of the day, like we said, yes, I think we said that even if Ruvain sinned, we're gonna see today. But remember, he did tshuva. He repented for his sin. And when a person does tshuva for their sin, in a certain sense, it's as if they didn't sin. So that's something to keep in mind. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning, welcome back, and good morning to Asaf. Nathan Bitesh is making a Brit this morning in Deal.
Uh-huh.
So I'm staying for the class, and then I'm headed to Deal. So I want to just tell everybody that we should share in Smochot. Okay,
Beautiful.
okay. We are on Nun Hey Amabet 55B. We've been discussing a fascinating subject. 55B, 55B2 on the right side. Ketanoi. It's an argument of Tanoim. We've been discussing Ruvain, the Bechor of Yaakov, Ruvain, the firstborn of Yaakov. And as you know, the story of when Rachel passed away, he moved the bed of his father from the tent. Good morning, Moshe. From the tent of Rachel, because what happened was that Yaakov had moved his bed into the tent of Bilhah, and Ruvain moved the bed. And Yaakov, as we know, gave Musa to Ruvain before Yaakov passed away. He gave Musa to Ruvain for doing that act. But there is an opinion, there are two opinions in the Gemara that's fascinating. When you learn the Chumash and Rashi very clearly states the Chumash that Reuven did not actually sin with Bilhah. He didn't sleep with Bilhah, but rather he moved the bed. But the Torah, considered it as if he went ahead. Good morning. There's a 6:45 slichot. If you want to join us, we will let you in. Okay.
There's a
If you
fee.
want to be closer, we let you be closer too. Hope you don't mind my encouragement. Okay. So that's what the Gemara. But now we're going to see Ketanoi. We have a machluk Ketanoi. It's actually like we were saying that even if he did sin, he did shuvah, he repented. We know he did shuvah. He repented for whatever he did wrong. The question is, what did he do wrong? Ketanoi. You have it, Adam? The argument of Tanoim, 55b2 on the right. Pachaz kamayim al totah. Yaakov says to Ruvain at the time that Yaakov was giving him Musa at the end of Yaakov's life, you pachas kamayim, you haste, you acted haste like water that's running water. You acted in such a way al totah. You were very fast to make the move without thinking it through properly. You lost the ability. You're not going to have extra more than the other brothers. You're not going to have kingship. You're not going to have kahuna gedolah. You lost it through this action. But Rabbi Eliezer says, pasta, the word pachaz is like an acronym. Each letter represents a different word. The pachaz is pasta. You hurried up. The pay stands for being fast, being swift. Now, if it's right it's good to be swift to do a mitzvah, but this was not. This was a wrong. This is not correct. Chavta, you obligated yourself by doing this act, and zalta, you have degraded. You have degraded the honor of your father by sleeping with your father's wife. Meaning you have violated you have violated two sins in a certain sense. A married woman, and you also went ahead and besides being a married woman, she's also your father's wife. Rabbi Yeshua says, he says you have to explain the pachas. He says, now again, so Eliezer holds he actually was intimate with Bilah. Rabbi Yeshua says, pasat, the pachas stands for, the pay stands for pasat al dat. You stepped on the dat, meaning you, even though a ben Noach, meaning you stepped on the adat, you stepped on the Torah. Chatata, you went ahead and you sinned. You sinned. Zanita, you committed an act of like an act of znut, an immoral act. And Gamliel says, Pilalta. The word here, he has a different understanding what he did. Good morning, Yitzchak. Good morning. Gamliel Omer, the pacha stands for Pilalta. Pilalta means you prayed. Good morning, Mordechai. Welcome back. I forgot to request for a table. We're gonna make a. Well, I'll speak. Remind me, we have to ask for a table. Pilalta, you prayed. Chalta is another language like Vayechal Moshe. You entreated another language of prayer, a different language of prayer. And Zarcha Tfilatcha. Your prayer shone forth. Your prayer shone forth that you prayed to be saved from the sin. And you were successful. So it's an amazing, this pshat has a different outlook of Ruvain. That Ruvain, Mordechai was discussing Ruvain, right? If Ruvain sinned or not. And here this opinion says that Ruvain felt the challenge, just like the Meraglim, right? We know the story in the Meraglim that Kalev ben Yefuneh, he made a stop in Hebron. Why did he stop in Hebron? Because he wanted to pray in Hebron for the children, that he should not listen to the advice of the spies. He felt challenged. He knew they were wrong, but most probably they're creating some sort of convincing argument, trying to convince him or trying. He feels challenged, so he goes ahead. He wants to help himself. So what does he do? He goes to the kever of Avram Avinu, right, Mordechai, to pray, to help that he should help him. So too, someone's jacket just dropped. So too, Ruvain understood the challenge. He felt challenged with whatever why he felt challenged to sin with Bilah. That the Gemara does not tell us, but he felt challenged, and he went ahead and he prayed. And the power of prayer. Here we are in the shul. The power of prayer was what saved him, and different levels of prayer, different types of prayer, as we see. The Gemara says that Chalta, Pilalta, and Zorcha Tfilatecha, your tefillah shone forth. Zorcha, interesting language, and you were saved. Now, Omer Gamliel, Adai Srichan Anu Lemodoi. We still need the Modoi. We need the rabbi from Modoi, like the rabbi from Deal. He was a rabbi from the town called Modoi. Who was there? Rabbi Lezer Modoi Omer. Rabbi Lezer Modoi. He's going to say, what does he say? Hafoch et ateva v'dorsha. Take the word pachaz and turn it around. If you turn it around, and you have the zayin, instead of being pei chet zayin, it's zayin chet pei. And what is that? Zizata, you were like you were moved. You were in awe because of the situation. You felt you were scared, so to speak. You trembled. You trembled. You didn't want to do the sin. Hirtarta, you drew back. You refrained from going ahead and doing the sin. And parcha chetmcha. And the sin, because of that, the sin went away from you. You didn't go ahead and you didn't do the sin. And you didn't do the sin. You were afraid to sin. You trembled, and that we talk about yirat chet, afraid of sin, right? A person needs to be afraid to sin, right? Be afraid to go against God's to sin. I'm afraid, scared to sin, to do the wrong thing in life. He had a yirat chet, and he was very, and thank God he was, he was successful, um, not to sin. Rava Ama, so according to Rava Ama, but both rabbis, these last two rabbis, both say that he was challenged, right? He was challenged. He was afraid to sin, right? Meaning, if he wasn't challenged with the sin, you don't say I'm afraid to sin, right? When do you say I'm afraid to sin? I have a sin, it's something in front of me, but I'm not going to do it. But but as if it's a question whether I will do it, I won't do it, but I'm afraid to do it. I'm not going to do it. Now Rava Ama, Ramila, and Rava says he tells us a little bit of insight of what helped him not to do the sin. And Ramila Rabbi Yirmiyah, he says, some say Rabbi Yirmiyah Ba'arba says it. Not was a Rava, some say it was Rabbi Yirmiyah Ba'arba. Zacharta on shol shel davar. You remembered the punishment, the great punishment that there'll be for a person who goes to sin with someone else's wife. And obviously the punishment in this world, the punishment in the next world. Chalita atzmacha choli gadal. You made yourself, you got very sick. It means you worked, meaning you're restraining yourself, conquering the evil inclination. Meaning Rashi says to control yourself. It was very difficult. It was very hard. But you did it. And pirashta milachto. And you separated from sinning. There a Gemara from Mark. Bruchim Abayim. Welcome, Mark. Say welcome back. We're going to request the table. Hopefully, we forgot to ask it for a table. So 55B2. Now we already turned to B3. Now B3 on the top. So he says that was but again, he was faced with a great challenge of sinning. So we see, at least this, this connects the two opinions, meaning to say the distance of the two opinions of whether he sinned or not. It's like these two opinions say he was faced with the challenge. Good morning. Reuven was faced with a great challenge. So the question was, did he do the sin? Did he do the sin? It's like similar to Yosef. Yosef is a little different. Yosef, one opinion says Yosef was going to sin. On one opinion says no, he never was going to sin. So it's different than Yosef, right? Because Yosef is one opinion says he was going to sin, but then he remembered and he pulled away. He stopped. He didn't do the sin. Other opinion says that he wasn't planning on sinning. But here we're saying that Reuven was faced with a great challenge. Either one opinion says he met the challenge, but it was a very big challenge, but he met it, or there's two opinions that he actually failed.
No opinion, where Yosef said he was never.
No, there is opinion, but Yosef, there is opinions that he never.
Yeah, no, I'm saying with Ben, there's no such place where you say he was
Never faced with the challenge. At least these.
In other words, Yosef, they said there's one opinion that says he was close and he stopped. There's another opinion that says he wasn't even close.
Right.
Over here, they're not saying he was never even close.
Right. At least he's
They're
lit.
saying either he was close and he stopped, or he's close and he did it.
Right. At least
That'd be
these.
different.
Right. At least these. Now.
There's one overlap.
Right.
They were both close and both didn't do it.
Right. But the first opinion. These are the last four opinions of the Gemara. But we had other opinions in the Gemara that said he wasn't. He was that never did not indicate that he was challenged. They just said that he just moved his father's bed because he felt his mother, his mother was Leah, and now that his father Rachel died, the bed should be in his mother's tent, not in the tent of Bilhah. But not so. Those other opinions did not indicate he was challenged. So we have similar to Yosef, right, in that aspect, in those ways, those opinions. But on the other hand, we could gain respect for Ruvain so much, how much he met the challenge. According to those opinions that he was challenged, and yet he worked hard. He like got himself sick, like whatever to meet like you got yourself sick to be sick to carry that load. You went up the mountain. You guys, I had to do it. I got to do it. So he got himself sick. The language of the Gemara is a very interesting. Choli Gadol to go ahead and to control himself. He put he worked. He pushed himself all the way to make sure that he won't sin, which maybe is a big lesson for everybody. From Ruvain, is how much we have to push ourselves. People sometimes can be faced with great challenges, spiritual challenges. Now they have to. The best thing is never to come to feel that challenge, right? But the facing that challenge and to be able to say, I'm going to work so hard to meet that challenge. And Ruvain, by the way, like the Gemara says, if a person sees the Yetzer Hara coming on him, one of the things is to remember the day of death, like that will wake a guy up. He remembered the punishment for such a sin. So sometimes the sin of sleeping with a married woman.
The sin is woman's sin.
It's the woman, right? Both are sinning.
Don't forget about us.
Right. Both are sinning.
Think about the other.
You're correct.
That's our sin too.
She would say no.
Don't worry about her.
You know what? If you're a Bukharian barber, right? And if you're giving a razor, now Bukharian barbers have to be careful. I don't want to pick on Bukharians, but I mean to say a lot of barbers are Bukharians, and they need to realize there's a prohibition. Not only is the guy not allowed to have a razor shave, you're not allowed to give the razor shave. You're correct. Both are there's a prohibition on both ends.
To goy.
To good is no problem.
Okay.
You could be a Bukharian, and my Bukharian shop, my barber shop. I say we only because of religious purposes we don't give razors to Jews. I mean whatever or my shop would just say no razor, no razor, no razor. We don't use knives in our barber shop.
They could do it on the neck, right?
Only certainly have to be very low down. So you have to, but the best thing is they have to be very careful because if it's so. Therefore, I think Rabbi Feinstein told me, I said, don't do anything in the front for sure. Meaning, don't let what he told me is what I recall. Don't use a razor anywhere here because you don't know. You start going over here. You have to know exactly where is the spot that's not called part of the beard, right? Because the Torah says you can't ruin your beard. So now the question: how far down? Right? See, any place in your face here, everybody agrees you can't use the razor, right? I can't use anywhere in my hair. Now, whatever's cool. Say it again. It better not fit you. No, but there's
There's 5 bones that you have.
here,
Here, and here.
You're pointing to the chin.
you're right, but
Chin, here.
see, there's 5 corners. I mean, so here's a marker. Say here's a corner, here's a corner, here's a corner, here's a corner. Let's say, but I think we at least
Forget the mustache.
we stay away. We stay away from anywhere on the front of the face. Stay away from anywhere. But the question is, how do they have to know exactly? But again, they have to know. Right.
So you say stop here, the other guy says stop this.
Yeah.
No line,
Right. I say don't do anything. I'm saying mark nothing here, nothing underneath here.
There's nothing nowhere.
No, the back. If you want to use in the back here, the back of your head. But again, even the back of the head. But again, skip it.
You're saying on the Adam's apple, this is risky.
Right, that's right. You gotta stay away from that. Right, exactly.
No, but that's not considered one of the corners.
I'm not sure. We have to see it. Front, we have to look exactly, we need to identify exactly where the corners are. We have homework to do. Maybe you'll remind me, I'll try to bring in.
If you say the knife is dangerous from the point of view of killing someone, shot the guy, then even down here.
Yeah, but I only was saying that just to there's no problem with it's not about the knife. It's not about the knife killing anybody. That's not the issue. There was a time period that you were not able to get a haircut from a non-Jew. There was a time period because what they would do is they would sometimes if they were real anti-Semite, they would kill the Jew in the haircut, and they would say it was an accident. Therefore you were not allowed to take a haircut from a non-Jew. But thank God those times have changed, and you're able to get a haircut from a non-Jew. But I'm saying we have to find out exactly which is the spot to where if a person is using a razor in the front, where exactly do they have to stop? Exactly where is that spot?
There's different opinions. People
What'd
think
you
you
say?
can do it, like they say you can do it down here, but some people say you can't.
Yeah, best is I say don't do anything on the front of your face. That's what that's what I would suggest to everybody. Okay, now Amar Rav Shmuel ben Achmeni. Now that we spoke about, we have a mnemonic: Ruvain, Bnei Eli, Bnei Shmuel, David Shlomo, Yoash is a siman. Now we're going to be talking. We just spoke about Ruvain. We're going to talk about the children of Eli. As you remember, Eli was the Kohen Gadol, right? Eli, and that was where Shmuel Hanavi was in the time of Eli. And there was a discussion about the children of Eli. And there's a whole question. The Torah, the Tanakh uses a similar language that it used by Ruvain. It says, "Sheyishkevun et hanashim." It says that the children of Eli slept with the women. And now the question is, does it really mean that he slept with the women? Does it mean that the children of Eli actually committed adultery or not? So again, we have Omer of Shmuel ben Achmeni. Shmuel ben Achmeni says, similar to what we opened up with Ruvain, and maybe he's the same, by the way, it's the same author, Rabotai. He's the same rabbi. The same rabbi who said that Ruvain sinned is the same rabbi that says that the children of Eli did not do such a sin. Anybody who says that the children of Eli slept with married women, Eina ela toeh, is making a very big mistake. Now, again, why would a person ever say it? Because you know what? Because the Navi, it's written that he slept with the women, right? The same way it says about Bilah, that Ruvain, Vayishkav, he slept with Bilah, and the rabbi said it doesn't mean he slept with Bilah, but the Torah equates as his act of moving the bed as if he slept with Bilah.
Where are we going here with this with Shabbat? Like, what's the connection about?
Oh, what's the connection with Shabbat? Oh, very good. No, because the Gemara got into the idea of anybody, if you're able to protest against somebody, if you don't protest against somebody who does a sin about Shabbat, because we're talking about Shabbat, someone's cow went out on Shabbat wearing something, and it was a question whether the rabbis held it was a problem. They could not go out with that. And it said that the cow of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah went out with such a thing. The Gemara says he didn't count to go out with such a thing, but because his neighbor's cow went out with such a thing, and he didn't protest, we consider it as if he went out with it. So sometimes you can have something that it says someone did something, but they didn't actually do it. But because he didn't actually do it, but because they could have protested, we consider it as if they did it. So sometimes you can write something about somebody, he should have, because he did not protest, as if he did it. You could write something about someone even though it didn't actually happen, but the Torah we could equate it. Have a great day, everybody. Nathan, not Nathan, Ralph, we're gonna close off the Zoom, and then you could just join again. Join right now, okay?
Okay.